Oh, okay.
And who's on the phone also, so we know who that is?
That's Mr. Kessler is on the phone.
Okay.
Yes,
Oh,
I'm
and-
here.
Hold
I'm
on.
on my phone.
All righty. So 4:03, we'll get started. First thing we need is a motion to approve the agenda for today.
Motion to approve.
Okay, Larry
I
approved.
second that.
All righty. All righty, then the second thing we need to do is approval of the October 14th minutes. Hopefully everyone had a chance to read it. And I did catch one thing after I said they were okay. It appears that Mr. Kessler was at last month's meeting as well.
Yes.
So Matt, were you on the phone? That's probably why we missed you last time.
Oh, sorry.
Yes, I was on the phone just like I am now. Well, I actually was on the computer. This time I'm on the phone.
Oh, okay. So other than adding Matt to the meeting minutes as being in attendance as a concerned citizen, do we have any other changes to the minutes? Anyone caught?
Only change, motion to approve.
Okay,
Second.
second, all in favor? Aye.
Favor. Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. We're good. All righty, so that moves us down to the board report, board chair's report. Okay, Garden City still refuses to grant the necessary permits for certain third track work in their town, jeopardizing the current completion schedule. The major objection by Garden City is the installation of some 90-foot poles, it says poles here, but poles along the right of way. It appears that it will take court action to get a resolution. There was a full page story in Newsday last Sunday on Halloween regarding this issue. Long Island Railroad President Phil Lang recently announced that weekday ridership has finally cracked the 50% level of pre-pandemic ridership, which is a hopeful sign of recovery. However, with many firms embracing a hybrid work mode, there is still a very serious concern about getting ridership numbers up before the federal assistance money runs out. Because the LaGuardia Air train,
Was it holes or poles?
poles, big
Poles.
giant poles.
Okay.
They're the
I think-
utility poles that hold up all the wires.
I think
Yeah.
in the email that went out earlier, it said holes. And I
Yeah.
was thrown off by what they were digging.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, well,
It's a hole.
if there were 90-foot holes, they would have a concern. Because the LaGuardia Air Train that Metz Willets Point has been put on hold, the future of full accessibility at the station is also up in the air. We are committed to asking for an elevator at Metz Willets Point, regardless of the future of the air train project. We brought this up at the October committee meetings, and we'll ask that the board address it at future meetings. The plans to add an elevator at this station were supposedly completed years ago, and then got put on hold when it was decided that that would be a good location for the air train. So we are going to push for full accessibility at that station. Regarding our request for a 2020 ticket, 20 trips with a 20% discount from peak fares, MTA Chairman Jano Lieber has announced that the MTA board is forming a committee that will meet over the next couple of months to discuss potential new ticket options that may be made available. Board member Andrew Albert will be representing the PCAC on this committee. Jano is
Jerry?
also, yes.
Just to interrupt you real quick, Andrew is actually at that meeting right now as we speak. So that just started today.
Oh, wow. Okay. Okay, he has also in the Freedom ticket may be among the options that the Fair Working Group will consider, but is not committed to anything yet. Probably the most important development within the last month was the running of the first official test train into the new East Side Access Station at Grand Central Terminal. I was privileged to ride that train in with Governor Hochul and Congresswoman Maloney, as well as MTA top brass and other dignitaries on Halloween morning. At a press conference held upon arrival at the terminal, Governor Hochul spoke about the importance of our transportation infrastructure and a dedication to provide necessary funding for these projects. Projects mentioned included Gateway, Penn Station improvements, Metro North access to Penn Station, and reconsideration of the LaGuardia Air Train, just not as it was previously proposed. The governor also spoke very favorably of the work being done by Chairman Lieber, which hopefully bodes well for his permanent appointment to the MTA CEO and board chairman's position. To follow up on that, yesterday, Governor Hochul announced plans for improving Penn Station that would not wait for the expansion project to the south that the former governor prioritized. Instead, the plan to rebuild would open the station to a single level and move Penn to the front of the line to make a Penn Station worthy of New Yorkers, as she quoted. Our plan would add more elevators and access to platforms and additional entrances to the station from the development that would take place to the east and the north. The new tracks that would be built in the future would come from the Gateway tunnels, which Amtrak said won't get underway until 2035 and will require federal review. In addition, there'll be more pedestrian access and open space around Penn Station. It is slated to be a 4 to 5 year project costing $6 to $7 billion. The governor has said that she will work with stakeholders for input and will reach out to request that the PCAC be represented since all of our riders have occasion to use Penn Station. And that's my report. Any questions or?
Yeah, actually, I do, if I may.
Yeah.
You kind of cut out. So I heard you say, "Oh wow," someone mentioned something. I didn't hear the whole thing.
Regarding?
I didn't hear the what sentence that.
I think it was when Bradley was saying he was at a meeting.
Oh, no, that Bradley mentioned that Andrew was already at that meeting. They are having a meeting regarding various ticket types.
Okay. Any news with that, or are we waiting for?
No,
update?
today's the first meeting. It's a
Okay.
sub. They formed a subcommittee of certain board members to discuss that. There's
Okay, cool.
There's also going to be a subcommittee being formed for resilience as well after what happened during our last major storm.
Got it. Okay. Thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome. Also, if any of the board members would like, I guess Larry was kind enough to send me a PowerPoint of the governor's presentation yesterday. Lisa informed me that copies of that were given out to the media. I guess they had a media presentation, at 5:30 yesterday at Penn?
They did. It was really interesting. They did a walkthrough of a typical commuter. Right. So now you've got Jano and
No
22
such animal.
cameras barging through rush hour, making it a really typical rush hour. So it was a really interesting tour of what was going to change and what was not going to change. Larry, I was not able to open that, but I was able to find a link to the governor's presentation that I'm going to put in the chat for anybody who's interested here.
Yeah, the interesting thing about a lot of the governor's remarks is a lot of the programs were part of the previous governor, what he was planning. The big change was Cuomo didn't, it was an option, and it was a concept of a 1-floor or a 2-floor station. But now it seems that Governor Hochul is pushing the 1-floor open air with sunlight coming in through the top concept, which basically means the main corridor that's in the construction phase right now is going through with the way it is. But as you move towards the other side of the station, the whole Amtrak level goes bye-bye. And it becomes one big gigantic chasm that, according to the governor yesterday, she said that it's going to be the size of Moynihan Station and Grand Central together, which I thought was kind of neat.
Right.
So
And
we're talking
yeah,
huge.
right. And that this would be able to go through, and I think that the former governor wanted to move forward with the demolition, the acquisition and demolition of the block to the south and the construction of the 9 new tracks. And Governor Hochul just wants to start this immediately without waiting. So that she said that the other part of the project would take until 2035 to start, and she doesn't want to wait for the lawsuits, and she doesn't want to wait for the eminent domain, so that this would begin sooner and be done in 4 to 5 years, at which time Penn Access would be bringing more Metro North riders, east of Hudson Metro North riders into Penn Station as well.
And the other interesting thing is that that's all part of federal money too, that has not been dedicated yet as part of the Gateway project, where they're going to build new tunnels under the East River and all that. So that money isn't there, not yet anyway. And if it'll ever be there, I don't know. we're all gonna find out.
So this is a screenshot of what it would look like with the ceiling removed and the two levels and open to sunlight. So,
Don't call that an improvement.
and there would be additional elevators and escalators going down to the platforms.
And Lisa, correct me if I'm wrong, didn't she say something about the blocks south of Penn Station? Now it includes an affordable housing part that wasn't in the original plan. Is that correct?
She said that blocks to the south are not going to be that's on the back burner right now. That kept coming up. She's now talking about blocks to the east and to the north, which we're going to continue. That was part of a lot of the community opposition to the plan. Yes, and Shaul, you're correct. I know that there are definitely some configuration issues that are that need to be fixed with this rendering. It is just a rendering.
Yeah, and the thing is also, with the discussion again, this is not in stone. This is a concept. This is not happening. Even though the governor has proposed it, it's not happening yet. This is all concepts and proposals. And she's very much into on street level there to be grass and greenery and things of that nature. And which was an interesting to me that I found, which was one of my complaints with Moynihan. If you're in Moynihan Station, there's no place to sit. And the MTA's logic of that is if there's places to sit, there's places for homeless to go. And she kind of agrees with the same thing, that the new area would not have benches here and there. They'll have a waiting room, but not benches throughout the station, as there is not in Moynihan right now.
Well, what they could do is again, this is all a concept. They can do what Amtrak has right now. Amtrak has a rather large waiting room with comfortable seats. And just like our waiting room with not so comfortable seats, you have to show a ticket to get in. So this way it does bar,
Right.
the
Well,
homeless from getting in.
In Moynihan right now, I believe there are 3 of those little waiting rooms, all kind of like grouped together, or it's one big one on one side so that you can go in there. And again, I sat down on the stairs and I got yelled at. I sat on the corner of one of the stairs and one of the security guys goes, "You can't sit here. You got to move." So I was like, okay,
But
sorry.
you know what? People will find a place to sit if they want to sit.
Yeah,
I was on the 8th Avenue concourse the other day waiting for a train. And obviously there's no benches there, but there were people sitting on the windowsills.
Yep.
My butt's a little too big to fit on that, but some of these other people did fit. And I was like, if there's a way.
In Moynihan, there were radiators around the place. I said, then I moved myself to a radiator and got yelled at by a different person. So I'm a bad influence.
Can I tell you?
So I was part of a briefing in advance of the announcement as well with a number of elected officials and ESD, the Empire State Development Corporation. And the electeds were asking questions also about pedestrian traffic, because this proposal would close off streets to vehicular traffic and open them to pedestrian traffic. And Senator Comrie in particular said, well, some of our seniors still like to be driven to Penn Station. So how are we going to get them there? And people with disabilities like to be driven to Penn Station. How do they get there? And the answer was that there is still going to be the ability for drop-offs and for pickups there. So
It's not like they're blocking off 7th or 8th
Yeah.
Avenue. I mean, they've already blocked off 33rd Street. That's no great loss. So I think they're making a little bit too much out of it.
No, and then I'll add one more point about this building concept that they've done. Truck deliveries will no longer be on street levels. In the concept of the building, there is 31st Street. It's going to be an underground garage for all deliveries into the Penn Station area. So they say that's going to cut down on truck fumes and truck parking and things of that nature, including partially, which they don't understand, some trucks still have to be on street level, but there'll be, larger trucks, TV trucks and all that stuff you see on 31st Street will be underground. Some of them.
Here's a rendering of one of the pedestrian plaza areas as well. So I put this this in the chat. So there's 9 pages in this show. As Larry said, this is a concept. But there will be a public meeting on December 8th to gather input. They're looking at 50% federal, 25% New Jersey, 25% New York State at this point. There is already a community working group. There's going to be an additional stakeholder working group, considering that everybody on this call and everybody on all the calls that PCAC participates in are stakeholders or represents or stakeholders. I think it's appropriate certainly to ask to be part of that call, a part of that working group. So we'll do that. But there will continue to be input into this. There was a reduction in the amount of office space and an increase in the amount of housing that's being proposed here too, that helped to placate some of the community organizations and groups that have been really opposed to this, and an increase in the affordable housing. So
I think Chris wanted to say something. Chris?
Yeah, just to add that question for accessibility from Larry, because Amtrak does one big thing. It's like once you go in the middle, it's like you want to go left or you're right. But if you're a customer that's on Long Island Railroad, last time we discussed this issue, Lisa, you can vouch for me because you were with me. There were sometimes no Long Island care staff as sometimes there. They might be spread out because that's still one minor issue at that time. But last time I was there, they did finally had a Long Island care person, and they do supposed to have a spot for them to make sure they stay in a position so that if they know if something's wrong with an elevator, they can reroute them to another elevator or the next train. But the other issue is also accessoride now still comes up because they've been dropping them off at 33rd Street in the Monahan, not going to 31st Street. Well, I mean 30th, whatever, 30th, because it's safer there, because 33rd, you have to cross the street, and that is no traffic like that. It's like they have to go in the middle of the block, cross there, and almost get hit by a car. So far, Accessoride has been dropping them off in the 30th between 9th and 8th because it's a little more lighting and there is guards there. And Larry, to answer the other question, the guards have been stopping people sitting on the staircase because they've been catching homelessness sitting on the staircase too. Because they've been doing something illegally. That's what I'm going to say from that point.
it's not
You
illegal
better
to
dress
be.
a little nicer, Larry.
I'm a bad influence. What can I say?
You're not a bad influence, but it's just proof they're doing their job.
All right, so moving on, it's time for the Hector Garcia Show. Hector, you're up.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Wait a minute, I don't have my buttered popcorn. Never mind.
Top of mind is this weekend. There's some track work this weekend on the Hempstead branch and on the main and Port Washington branch. Just one thing, so you guys know, because of the shortage of bus drivers, we couldn't get coach buses that we normally get, so we're gonna have to use school buses, and we're having transit try to give them some transit buses, but unfortunately, we're gonna have some school buses this weekend because of the driver shortage. We just couldn't get the coach buses. But what else?
All right, let's, we got a few things on our list here. We just go through real quick. Ridership and mask enforcement update. Phil, I think, mentioned that ridership's up to 50% now.
Actually, he just told me it's 55 now. We're closer to 55.
Okay. We had a good week.
Yeah, it seems like Mondays and Fridays are lower days, but then like Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursdays are busier.
Yeah, I've noticed that myself on the Babylon branch, Montauk branch. People are taking a lot. Well, you know what I'm finding is that the people who have the option of picking the 2 or 3 days that they want to come in or just making the long weekends for themselves
Mhm.
So if they tell you got to be in 3 days and you can pick your 3 days, people are just naturally picking Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. In fact, I know at least 2 people that have done that. Mask enforcement, they're still, I mean, it seems about the same to me, but you hear hearing anything from,
I mean,
Yep.
nothing new. I mean, MTPD is out there, but nothing new.
okay, then we had a couple of things that we put on, actually Larry pointed them out, Long Island Railroad train time app rider accuracy. Larry, you want to, well, actually, I think you sent Hector an email about this earlier in the week, but can you just go through it so everyone's in the loop?
Yeah, well, the app I have found is, because I've been traveling a lot in the last 2 weeks on the railroad, and I found the app is not quite accurate as to train capacity, where I've seen it said, I think it was yellow is 35% of seats or something like that, and the train was standing room only. So that wasn't quite exact as I would expect it to be. And then the other thing yesterday, which was really fun, which was everybody was laughing hysterically. The train I took home last night, Hector, the display on the train, it was a Babylon train, but our first stop was going to be Auburndale. Then it became New York. Then it became Penn Station. Then we became Patchogue. It just kept coming up. Every stop, it was a random message, which was pretty humorous. Everybody was kind of like laughing. It was quite humorous. But the app stuff just doesn't seem to be very accurate in regard to passenger. I don't know if it's measuring it by weight, but it just doesn't seem right. And, you know, especially when it's at the terminal station like Penn Station.
I mean, we feel that it's very accurate. You know, every once in a while for connectivity or IT issues, sometimes something is not working for, you know, that run or that day. But I mean, we use the data ourselves and we verify it. It does use weight. So, but I mean, if you watch it when the train is moving, you can actually see if somebody's moving from car to car or people getting it off, you know, it's changing in real time. And in terms of the capacity, you know, sometimes customers complain that it's standing room only, but it's, you know, at the same time, there's a lot of middle seats available. They just don't want to sit and they're standing. So, you know, a 50% filled car with meaning the middle seats are all open. It's, you know, it's not full. It's 50%, but it just, you know, the perception could be that if people are standing in the aisles now, it looks like it's overflowing, but it's really not.
Yeah, actually, that's a point that I made talking to Newsday. Just 2 different points of view. What the railroad considers a full train obviously is using every seat. Unfortunately, a lot of our commuters are still, with the pandemic, are still a little concerned. So if you got a three seats on one side and 2 seats on the other, if you have one person in the 2-seater and then 2 people in the 3-seater with the middle seat open, the riders are considering that full because they don't want to sit directly next to somebody. And that's not the railroad's fault. That's, you know, that's just the way it is. That's human nature.
So for us,
So-
once a train is like over like 60 to 70%, then we're monitoring those trains, and we have added cars to ones that are, you know, consistently above that. But then, you know, for the majority of trains are not at that, you know, at that level on a regular basis. That's the other thing. It has to be on a regular basis. One day it could be crowded, but then the other days of the week it cannot be. So once it kind of hits that threshold, then we know to look at it. And once we see as a pattern that's consistent, then if we can add cars to it, then we're doing that.
And I know what you mean about consistency, because now that Broadway is back, you know, you're gonna get your Wednesday matinee people and stuff like that kind of skew, you know, the daily ridership. You know, Larry was talking.
Yeah, let
Oh,
me
go
just
ahead.
add one more thing to that, Jerry. And I think a lot of this could be avoided. There are a lot of, I've been taking off-peak train. Well, everything's off-peak, but I've been going in at like 10 o'clock in the morning, 11 o'clock in the morning. They're all 8-car trains. Train coming home yesterday, 8 cars. I mean, there's a lot of cars that are laying around, so to speak, since they're not running at full schedule. So why can't they make these 10 and 12-car trains? Out of curiosity.
Again, we're adding them during, you know, where there is crowding is during the peak times. That's when we're adding cars. So we're kind of not rushing to just add cars across the board, because then you have less flexibility when you actually there's an issue to address, right? So then if you start adding them, then you're taking away, people complaining you took away our cars. But so we're trying to add them where it's needed.
Speaking of apps, I've been experiencing a problem. I don't know whether it's on my phone or my laptop. When I go for schedules and they tell you to plug in the stations, and I'll plug in the stations and it'll tell me one of the stations, they have no information for that station. It's like, what do you mean you have no information for Patchogue? And I even had one time it came back, we have no information for Penn Station. It's like, they don't, it's like, what? It's gotten to the point now, if I need to check a schedule, fortunately, you do have a website where I can get a PDF of the old fashioned, written schedules. And that's what I've been going to lately, because the other app just is not working. It's just telling me, one of the two stations I selected either doesn't exist or we have no information for it. I'll try and get a screenshot of when it tells me that the next time I go on that.
Is it the app, like the Train Time app, or like if you go on the MTA website? And 'cause I think the MTA website, there's been an issue.
Actually, what I've been doing is I'll Google Long Island Railroad schedules and then click on the link. And if I get the one with the PDF, I'm fine, because I could just blow that up and see exactly like looking at the old timetables. But if it asks me for two stations, inevitably it tells me one of the stations either doesn't exist or we have no information. And it's like, okay. Alrighty, we have one more thing on the list. Actually, it's Larry again. Larry happened to notice the, I guess we would call it help point, because they have the help points in the subways. And I think Larry noticed a couple of these at, was it Belmore, Larry? The help, you push the button, someone talks to you, things. Is that something new that we're putting on the Babylon branch or all branches, or?
Yeah, so as stations that have been renovated, we're adding help points to them, and it's just being
Okay.
rolled out as a station gets renovated. We're adding that, so it's like a standard for if somebody needs assistance or just for emergencies.
I guess that don't work.
Yeah, I've seen them in any remodeled stations.
Well, I would explain what we're just seeing them sporadically. Then it's just going to be as the stations get remodeled, they'll get a help point station.
Yes.
I can't do it.
Who answers them?
Good question. I don't know the answer offhand. I
Not
forgot.
Hector.
It goes right to Hector's phone.
You stumped me.
Hello, Hector.
I mean, I think, well, most likely it goes to our, during normal hours, it's like our call center. And then after hours, it goes to our office of security. Like, it's like almost like the elevators when, you have the emergency button in the elevator. During the normal hours, it goes to customer service. And then when they're closed after 10 p.m., we have our 24/7 security office, and then they answer those calls and then direct it to it. But I'll verify that.
Thank you.
So we got something for our next meeting to ask you then. All righty. Okay, we also had the East Side Access Special Purpose Entity update. I think the concern has been resolved. The concern was obviously the track maintenance, signal maintenance, and whatever. And if you've got Vinny Tessitore happy, I guess it's all good.
I was surprised the board meeting, nobody had a question. After so much hoopla the previous meetings.
I was shocked that nobody asked a single question.
No, well, if there was behind closed doors, things were negotiated, because if Vinny was happy, it's all good. And that was our concern, was just as long as, the regular trained people who maintain the rest of the system. I mean, it would be kind of silly to have somebody different be maintaining the tracks and maintaining the signals, in the new Grand Central Terminal. Alrighty, holiday train schedule updates. Is there going to be adjustments to the schedule coming up, or?
Yeah, we're gonna add extra trains for Thanksgiving, and then we'll probably do it again in December for the normal stuff.
Ready?
And
Did
then,
they- I was gonna ask that question. Did they announce specifically what they're doing for Thanksgiving? Because last year there was no parade, so we're going back to 2 years ago. Are they gonna add as many as they had in 2019, or is it gonna be a guess, being that they're probably don't know what to anticipate.
I saw something that's gonna be announced at the board meeting that we're gonna add some, Thanksgiving Day trains. I don't remember what the number is, but so we are gonna be announcing, bringing back some trains for that.
Morning westbound, afternoon eastbound,
Yeah.
I'm assuming.
Ready?
And then
That's all.
Elmont Station. So the first game at UBS Arena is Saturday, the 20th. On Friday, the 19th, they're having an event there, kind of like a private charity event. So we're gonna run service for that event. They want to test all their systems and how everything is working with the shuttles and everything. So the day before is when actually the first day that trains will start running to there. And again, that's eastbound Hempstead branch trains will stop at Elmont Station, going to the game and afterwards. But that only goes to Hempstead. From Jamaica, we're gonna have 2 shuttle trains going to the existing Belmont Station before and after games. And then our Queens Village Station, mainline trains going to the westbound, some Huntington and Ronkonkoma trains will be stopping at Queens Village with a shuttle bus, to get people to the game. And after the game, people can do that also, go to Queens Village to get a train eastbound, as opposed to going to Jamaica. So people have 3 options to take the train to the game.
When do you think the Elmont Station will be up 100%?
By schedule is before next year's season, like next October. But it looks like it may open sooner. Construction may be done sooner, but it's not just the construction, it's all the actually I should backtrack. So third track is happening. You have the new Elmont Station being built, and then there's Queens interlocking in that same area. That has to be reconfigured to make all of this work. So that the reason why only Hempstead branch trains can stop at the station is without all those switches reconfigured, those are the only trains that can stop there. Until everything is completed, that's when any mainline train can stop at either platform. So that's not, all that work is not going to be done till by after next summer. So like by next fall is when it'll be fully up and running.
I think that's all the points that we had on our agenda list. Does any of the council members have any other questions for Hector? Does any non-council members have any questions for Hector?
I do, if I may.
Okay, go ahead, Matt.
So my first question is, I've noticed I haven't seen any Bud M3 equipment. Is there any anymore, or they've been totally retired?
Hold on a second.
Hey, Matt.
Sorry about that.
That's all good.
Sorry about that. So what was the question again?
About the
Sure.
it was about the M3s.
Oh yeah, M3s. Sorry. No, actually, since COVID, we kind of shelved them. So we haven't been using them. We haven't needed to use them. We kind of don't want to use them. But they've been shelved. They're still around, but we haven't. We're trying not to use them unless we need to.
Matt, if you're feeling nostalgic, you can go by Ronkonkoma. The new train yard that they built, that's where they got most of them stashed. So.
Well, it's not a matter of nostalgia. Just that I've been riding.
Oh yeah, no, there's been no need to use them. So.
I haven't, and once in a while, even if it's not on my branch, I normally see them in revenue service or even in dead end service. I haven't seen any, so I just was curious to see if they've been officially retired. That's all.
Let's just say they're semi-retired.
Yeah, they're not officially retired. We've only, on certain days something happens that we're forced to use them if we need to, but we're trying not to use them. To continue using them long term, they were supposed to be retired, but if to use them long term, they need to be fully refurbished. So it's a big investment that we don't know if that's worth the investment now. So we're hoping we get the rest of the M9s, and then we have the M9As, and then we won't need to use them.
Right. So my other question is, as far as Elmont, has if someone wants to go to this event that's going to take place, has the TVMs been programmed to sell the tickets to Elmont? I mean, is that all set up?
It's set up. I don't think it's live yet. We're finalizing it's going to be included with the November 15th timetable. we're probably going to start publicizing it earlier sometime. Hopefully next week, we'll be publicizing the schedule for all the different train options for Elmont State, for Elmont, Queens Village, and Belmont.
Got it.
One
Okay,
one thing unique about the UBS Arena is, like, we know hockey games on a weeknight, it's going to be 7:30 p.m. games but then on weekends, it's all types of things. There's between games and concerts and other things. It's all different type. There's no rhyme or reason. There's all types of schedules between 12 noon and 9 p.m. So there'll be like multiple schedules depending on what's going on there on the day.
Okay, so in other words, it sounds like you're going to treat it like Pine Lawn Station. Because Pine Lawn also has limited hours subject to usage. But that's
Well,
fine.
yeah, well, no one's getting off at Pine Lawn Station at 10:30 at night. I mean, that's,
Well, that's
Yeah.
but it's still not a 24-hour station. That was my point.
Well, so Elmont is going to be a 24-hour station once it's fully completed. For now, it's only
okay.
open. It's only going to be open for the first year for games. But then once it's fully operational, it's going to be a full-time station. So every Hempstead branch train is going to stop there essentially, 24/7.
Oh, that's great. My apologies for that. Thank you.
all right.
Thank you for
Next up,
answering.
Shaul.
Yeah, hi Hector.
Hey.
When is the service plan for East Side Access actually going to become public? Because if you just put it up in like a month before or a week before, it doesn't give time for people to adjust their commutes, to plan things out. And like it would be nice if riders had some feedback, input on what the planned schedule is.
I don't have a date for you. That it's still being like finalized. So I'm thinking early next year, or sometime early next year, that we'll start publicizing.
Well,
Publicizing
we're
it,
still
but it's-
14 months out, so.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Hector.
All right, Chris.
Yeah, Hector, did I hear you correctly that you said that you're gonna get school buses to be replacing this?
For some busing this
weekend?
weekend, yes.
Yeah, just to give you a head warning, we need to be careful because you have a lot of accessibility that uses that branch. If say they do have to use it, what is their option?
So we normally have like ADA vans available. So if somebody does need it, then we call one of the vans up. But
Can
yeah,
it
we
be
know
also
that
combined?
that's why we try not to use school buses, because we know they're not accessible. But then when we do, we have to have vans in case somebody does need it.
May I suggest maybe when you guys do your notices to tell them to call the Long Island Care, so therefore it'd be easier, so you'll know where to put the vans. That should work last time.
Yep, that's a good idea. I'll let
Yeah.
them know.
Thank you. And I also wrote something on the chat for you.
Is that what testing Nostrand Avenue?
Yeah, the answer that question for you, Jerry, I did get, I got off one time at Nostrand and I saw that helpline thing. It did work. One time I got through to the command center and I was like, okay, it works.
Good to know.
Yeah, and it does respond to MTA police too.
Great.
As Edith will say is, oh my God, it works well.
All right, Larry, you're up.
No, one question is to Hector. What's the status of the new trains? Are more coming in? Are they gotten out the kinks? What's the status on that?
No, they're coming in slowly, and as they come in, they're just testing them, and then they're rolling them out as they arrive.
Because I haven't seen that many on the line, but that's just me. But I was just wondering, because I knew there were some problems and things. Have those all been addressed and taken care of?
Yeah, the problems have been addressed, so the ones that are operating, they're doing good. There really hasn't been too many issues. We just don't have enough of them yet.
Okay.
All righty. Anybody else for Hector before we let him go?
No, just want to thank you for taking the time to answer my questions. Thank you.
Okay, great. Hector, I can't see everybody on the screen, so.
So I have a question. I'm going to say,
Okay.
Hector, so now the rest of us want to ride the train too.
Oh. Well, it's so right now, like that test ride that happened, it's remember, so the tunnel, the tracks is built, but all the signal, none of the signals and all that safety stuff, everything's not in place, so it's very risky. So it's very limited. So that's not gonna happen for a while, I don't think.
Well, we appreciate you having our fearless leaders be fearless first, but
Can't imagine what
now
that
that
disclaimer
they're
was they
here to
had to
tell the
sign.
tale, you know, when after you put in maybe a yellow light, let us know, and it could be our next rail trip.
Once the governor got on the train, I know I was safe. So it's like, you know, they ain't gonna jeopardize her. I might be
Believe me,
expendable, but not her.
Believe me, her security detail checked everything out fully before they let her on.
Alrighty. All right, so I think we're good, Hector.
Oh, one more thing, Jerry. Tomorrow,
Yep.
we're gonna have a press conference tomorrow at CarPlay Station at 11 a.m.
Okay.
Just to commemorate that the new station has been completed with elevators, a new overpass, new elevators, and new platforms.
Okay, great. Oh, let me give you a heads up. Dig out those plans for Willard's Point, because we're good. We're gonna push the issue on the MTA board level. I know you said that they might need to be revised because of something the city was doing with the,
It's the overpass there. It's called the Passerelle, that whole walkway.
like a
It's that
boardwalk
wood-
almost.
The old boardwalk, that has to be upgraded too.
Oh, okay.
So that has to be coordinated, that whatever they're planning can't interfere with whatever we're doing. Because whatever we're doing, we're gonna have to tie into that.
So that's New York. Is that New York City that's doing that work?
That's New York City, yeah. I mean,
That
I don't
sounds
think
like
they
a
have it
great
planned yet,
project.
but
That sounds like a great project for the new mayor. Also, since it's, it's a park, it's City Field Forever Shea is a Parks Department facility, right? And so is Arthur Ashe, and so is Flushing Meadow Corona, and they've got a major facility there. And the MTA's facilities are the smallest part of that whole big area. So it would be great to do something together and have them pay for most of it.
That might have been why I suggested having Eric Adams come to a next PCAC meeting.
Second, I second that.
We'll see what
Alrighty.
he says.
Yep. All right. Thanks again, Hector.
no
Appreciate it.
problem. Take care.
Alrighty. Going down to old business. It's actually one piece of really old business that I think is appropriate to bring up now. We're trying to get our membership up to snuff, and we've been having some problems with the governor's appointments office and whatever. But I know Matt, who's on the line, he was nominated by the Queensborough president, and now that the current Queensborough president has been elected to another term, can we push him to get that, to get Matt? And I believe there's also a transit rider involved too, to get those names up to Albany.
So, sorry, that's my rambunctious cat has decided to appear. So Matt, you'd need to reapply. Because it is a whole new, borough president's office. So you need to reapply to the borough president's office.
Lisa, I don't think he's on.
I don't think
anymore.
Matt's here.
I think he hung up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
up.
well, Matt would need to reapply to
All right,
to
I'll
the borough
let him know.
president's office.
I
And
thought the same guy who was interim got elected.
yes, but
The permanent,
he
so-
had- but it was Melinda Katz who had put Matt's name up,
Oh,
not
okay.
Donovan Richards. So this is a
Oh,
whole
so all
new-
right, so
Yeah. And
Okay, 'cause
the-
Matt had
the
kinda
other
thought
person who,
because-
the other person who she put up there, Rick Haran, had withdrawn his name. Since then, a
Really? Okay.
transit rider has put his name forward to Donovan Richards, but that hasn't gone anywhere. So I had met with Donovan Richards, chief of staff and assistant general counsel during the summer in
Okay.
August. But I just heard from them this week, actually, that they have a new chief of staff, and we're trying to set a meeting date for next week so that they can again talk about membership
names
and
up.
about freedom tickets. So it would, if Matt's still interested, it would behoove him to make his application.
No, I will definitely let him know. In fact, that's why I brought it up, because he was like, well, the guy's reelected or elected, whatever. He says, so am I good now? He says, well, let me see. So, all right. This
No,
so
'cause
actually
one-
Melinda
his,
Katz.
his application died with Melinda Katz.
Okay, good to know. I will let him know this evening.
Okay.
And
when you do, please let him know that I'm trying to, and I will next time, have the and for our other members who requested, have the closed captioning app available for Zoom. I thought it was easier to set up than it is.
Okay. Very good. Any other old business anybody wants to bring up? Okay, Lisa, do we have any new business? I think we're okay.
Well, I have one question. This is directed to Lisa. Our IDs are no longer valid for the MTA office. We have to get new IDs, our cards.
This is a question for Jessica. Jessica has been working to get to revalidate IDs, and Larry, yours should be good. Jessica, you're muted if you want to unmute yourself.
Hi.
Hi, Jess.
How are you? I don't think I've requested to update these members because we've had virtual calls.
No, I think that Larry was in the update group, but we'll make sure.
I have to double check. I don't have that with me right now. I'm working remotely, but I do have a file, and I will definitely check and confirm the ID number on the back of your card, and I will email the appropriate people and get you updated so you can have access. Because I've been working on it with every, for all the members and who's been coming in person. So it's definitely in the works.
Okay, and then the other question, what about Mineola? The story with that now?
Oh, well, who knows? Well, won't that be an interesting question?
Well, that depends. Did Blakeman get it, or is it still they recounting votes, or?
I think they're still counting, but they're, we'll see what happens where the check mark lands.
Yeah.
But we'll work on getting the key before then, for sure.
Yeah, we better get the key while Laura
Larry,
Curran's still in office.
I have
So
I have a
the keys I
question.
have are no good then.
We
if that's
didn't
for
get the
old office,
space when
correct?
she was in office anyway, so
No.
it was
So we
prior
don't,
to
so
her.
Larry, the key that you have is for a different room, so
Yeah,
no,
that's
Yeah,
garbage.
so it's no good anyway. Yeah,
right, and
we got relocated.
right.
So Larry, I have a question, because I'm trying to remember correctly. Did the LRCC members, did you guys have building passes for here at 2 Broadway?
Yes.
Yeah,
You
for
did.
for PCAC meetings.
For
Yeah,
PCAC meetings?
Yep.
Okay.
Well, it was good. It was good
Christie
anytime.
probably needs one.
Okay.
Christie, I don't think you ever had one, right?
That's correct. I don't have one.
So we probably do we need a photo for Christie?
Well, we have her bio photo. She wants us to use that. We can.
No,
I don't
they
know if
have-
it's no, they want a passport photo.
Oh, right.
that's for the Metro cards. You need a
That's for the
passport
Metro
photo.
cards.
For building access, we have to fill out that form, and then I bring them down to either Tamara or Aisha
Right.
in the mezzanine level. Their picture gets taken in person when they come in if they don't already have an ID.
Okay.
So we would have to make an appointment. They're pretty flexible with like a day's notice, as long as I have the filled out information that I need in times. So they have to have C numbers. So that would be another project to work on, but I could definitely put that in and get that rolling for you. And then when you do come into the office, we can get your ID done in person.
Jessica, do you already have our ID card numbers, or you need them?
I
Do you
believe I
have one,
yours,
Larry?
Larry. Yes, I
I
have
do.
yours. Yeah. If it's
But
the same one,
because
then I
Christie
have.
is our newest member.
Okay.
So we will work we'll make sure that everybody here is updated as well.
See what I started?
Marilyn,
I
did
gave
you have
Jessica
one?
one.
Marilyn, did you have an ID card? I think so. I'm pretty sure I saw you.
Yeah, I don't have an ID card. Never had one.
Okay. And we'll get you in as well. Larry, you planning to come visit us? Or are you
Every
gonna
once
come
in
to
a while, every once in a while I'm down there.
Yeah, great. Well, next PCAC meeting is on December 9th, so perhaps we'll have Eric Adams, but we will.
Let's have Curtis Lewa just for fun.
Yeah.
Because
and his
no
cat.
cats are allowed in the building.
No cats. All right, so last call. Anybody got anything to bring up, or does anybody want to make a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
All righty. So do I have a
Second
second?
I
All
second
righty.
that.
All in favor? Aye.
Bye.
Have a good night, everybody. Get home safe.
Take care, everyone.
Bye-bye now.